Well, welcome YouTube friends and family to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So if my son was here, he would be saying, Mom, wardrobe change. But I'm actually doing a couple videos in the same day. So yes, you've seen this polka dot sweater before, but I was catching up, given my back issue, on some news and some various YouTube channels that I like to watch given our current situation. Now, you all know I'm not a panic prepper. I will never tell you to panic buy, but we don't want to hide our head in the sand and be surprised when suddenly there are these huge issues and shortages like we experienced back in 2020. And there goes a cat here. Frankie just walked by. He left me with a little treat. So I just got my electric bill. My electric bill, guys. No, my gas bill, sorry. And I was like, this can't be right. I just don't see how it can be right. This was a 31-day bill. And wow, my bill was $145.98. And you all know my house is 62 during the day, 58 at night. It's not like I'm living warm. And we have had some cold weather, but I was absolutely shocked. And it isn't that my gas consumption was up dramatically, it's that prices continue to increase. So I thought I would bring you a video today talking about things to prep now and why. So let's think about today. So many of us have been doing a pantry challenge to lessen our grocery bills and for whatever period of time. I have not done, let me change positions here, guys, a regular grocery shopping since right before Christmas, like a big one. Now, I've certainly gone to the grocery, I've purchased fresh items, but in very small quantities. And I have to say, I did eliminate some near expiration foods from my pantry that needed to be eaten. So all that is good, right? Also, many people participated in a no spend January. I did not do that this year on my channel, but we may at the 1st of March here be facing some decrease in our pantry or our prepping supplies. Given what's going on, and I'm not going to go into it in depth with Russia and Ukraine, there are some things that we are seeing and will continue to see depending on how things go. So Russia and Ukraine are big importers of certain products that are going to affect not only US economy, it's going to affect the global economy. And rather than to ignore that, I think it's time to take a look at some of those things. And if we can head them off and be well prepared, all the better, right? So between those two countries, they produce 90% of the sunflower oil. Now, I do use sunflower oil in making some of my soaps. Can I use different recipes? Absolutely. Guess I will be. But here's the thing. It is going to impact the market for other oils like avocado and corn and soybean and all the other oils that we use. So those prices are going to increase. And based on what I read, and I tried to use reliable sources, well, if it's reliable, U.S. News and World Reports, Business Weekly, those type of things, around April is when we're going to start seeing some of these shortages I'm going to talk about. So I encourage you, if any of these are going to impact you or impact your lifestyle, you might want to think about purchasing now. The second area is metals. And I'm like, well, it's not like I'm a manufacturer, so it's not going to affect me a lot. Well, Russia and Ukraine lead the global production in nickel, copper, iron, and aluminum. So what is this going to affect? Aerospace. Okay, so I'm just not going to take a rocket to the moon and I'm not going to fly anywhere because it is going to impact commercial airlines for sure. Electronics. Yeah, my life is electronics, phones and iPads, etc. Building materials. So, what if you want to have some home repairs done? Appliances of all sorts. So, kitchen appliances, they call them white goods. I'm not sure why, but freezers, any of those type of things. And not with those metals, but with other, I'll say precious metals. They also lead the world in production of microchip metals for microchips. What has a microchip? Like everything. So, with there already being a shortage, and I will also give you an example of that in just a moment. If you need a new phone, if there's something you've been needing to replace and you haven't, now might be the time to do it. So let me pause you for just a moment because I lost my train of thought. Don't you hate it, guys, when you're like on a roll and then all of a sudden, poof, it goes out of your head? Okay. So speaking of shortages, I have for my YouTube channel a Canon camera, and the battery runs down fairly quickly. So I was going to order another battery. So I got on Amazon and I ordered a battery because I didn't have any Canon brands, and I'm like, oh, I'll save some money. Well, my son explained to me you can avoid the warranty, yada yada. Just order it from B&H Photo, which is where we get a lot of our products from. And guys, I waited about, let's see, 13 months for my battery. So I guess Frankie's like exclaiming here, I'm in here, buddy. He's been a little bit of a crybaby today because I'm uncomfortable and I keep shifting, and he's like, you need to sit still and pet me. Anyway, so if there are things like that that you need, go ahead and get them on order. Next area, and this really got my attention, was wheat. And I'm like, wheat? We in the US anyway grow a lot of wheat. Well, we are huge importers from Russia of wheat. And Russia and Ukraine produce about a quarter of the world's wheat. So while it may not impact the US as much as other countries that they're providing for, it is certainly going to drive up prices and it's going to create shortages. Now, I'm not filming in my pantry for a few reasons. Y'all go see this. Hey, what are you doing? You can say hi to the people? Yeah. Is he allowed on the table? He's like, no, but I'm making a video, so she's not gonna correct me. Oh, he's just gonna like lay down and take a nap. Excuse. Oh, shoot. Pardon me. So guys, if you make your own bread, stock up on your wheat products. According to what I see on YouTube, now I haven't been shopping, so I can't tell you. There are a lot of wheat type product shortages on the shelves like pasta already. I can't speak to that because I haven't seen it personally, but I am very glad to have Gamma sealed buckets full of whole grains and a grain mill. We've all seen the increased gas and oil prices, and I am shocked every time I go to the pump, and I have been doing a lot of driving with cleaning out my mom's estate. Yeah, I've spent more on gas in the last couple of months than I normally do, and I'm feeling the pinch at the pump. So consolidating those trips, traveling less, going away from home less, always a good idea. This one I found super odd. Fertilizer is going to be a problem. And I'm like, what? But the largest producer of fertilizer is Canadian, but with higher prices for transport, fertilizer prices are expected to skyrocket. So I would say, if you can, buy it now. Imports in general. So the battery came from China. I mean, that's just the way it is. And having to wait 13 months for a product that was back ordered is like, what? Pretty incredible, actually. So If you rely on imported items, you may have some difficulty and may need to come up with a plan B. So much of what we have here in the US comes from other countries, and it's not just going to be Russia and Ukraine products. There is going to be impact from China. I'm not sure I understand the whole reasoning behind it, but every article I read talked about that. Now I'm going to go a little bit to the dark place, not to panic or upset anyone, but I do want to talk about cyber attacks. So I have kind of sat back this winter and said, oh, I'm so prepared because now I have a whole house generator. Although, can you imagine with this kind of a gas bill? Because the whole house generator runs on natural gas, like I wouldn't even want to see that bill if it was a long outage. But what if we do have cyber attacks? What if they attack the electrical grid? What if they attack our banking system? Russia has been very forward speaking about retaliation for any sanctions, which sanctions are already in place. And while it might not bring war to the US, I can see that it could bring some cyber attacks. So here's a few suggestions for you to mull over, not panic about, and that is have some cash. I always think of my dad when I say that, because my dad would be like, how can you go around with no money? And I'm like, I have a debit card, Dad. So it's like, what if all of the debit machines are down? Well, yeah, that could happen, right? So I am going to go get some cash, Dad, so you feel okay about it. I'll make sure I have some for Mom too. The second thing is have some alternatives to just being on the grid. My whole house generator will do me no good if there is a cyber attack on our gas line. It will do me no good. So I still have, and I've scooted over here, several oil lamps and a great supply of oil to burn for light. And generally, I mean, we're coming up to longer days anyway. When the power has been out for an extended time, and we've had as much as 2-week power outages here, when we've had hurricanes come up from the Gulf and knock out everything, you kind of go to bed when it gets dark and you get up when it gets light to make the best use of the natural sunlight. I also have a few of these solar lamps, which are great. If you have battery operated lanterns, I have those too. Make sure you're stocking up on batteries, because those may also go up in price and also down in availability. Oh, here we go. Oh. If you don't have a manual can opener, guys, get one. So I did not have one until, I don't know, a couple years ago. And I have only had to use it a couple times before I had the generator. But all of the store canned food in tins will do you no good if you can't get into it. So having some basic things that you can get by with, a supply of wood for cooking outdoors. If you can heat indoors with wood, that's great. I don't have that option. I would just have to put on some more clothes. And then another thing I thought of is, I wonder if our supply of aluminum foil will be affected or just go up greatly. Now, guys, I never buy the name brand. This actually came from my mom's house. So anything like that she did not take with her, that certainly isn't going to go to auction, I took with me. So what I want to say to you today is replenish now, particularly if you did a no spend or pantry challenge and your stash of being prepared food and items is down. Go ahead and stock up. It's not going to get cheaper. We really don't know what's coming, but it's always good to put a little extra food and supply on your shelf. So I hope today's video was helpful, not stress-inducing, just some food for thought. Hopefully this is the highest gas bill. It certainly is the highest I've had all year. So as always, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and I'll see y'all real soon. Take care.